Today on The Gold Standard.
Gold could have given the Holy Family money, Dave, to live on in Egypt until they could return to Nazareth, and Joseph could continue his trade as a carpenter to provide for Mary and Jesus. Don't forget, this was a catastrophic period, so to speak, in their life, and gold gave them security.
This is The Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to The Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Welcome, Ken.
It's festive Christmas, Ken, today, Dave.
Yeah, there we go. We have
Yes.
a very special topic for this very special weekend. First, though, we really must, I think, comment on the financial news of the day. First up, what is going on with our nation's economy? I mean, we are hearing mixed signals from the Biden regime. They are quick to tout gas prices dropping a little and jobs being created at an increasing rate. But at the same time, we still have record high inflation, and there is more and more talk about a recession coming here in the new year. What do you make of all of this?
I can't believe any of it, to tell you the truth. It's all skewed. It's all done for, agendas. I mean, gas prices are down a little because we've drained our strategic petroleum reserve. We've shut down pipelines. We've made it very hard, and we've discouraged people from starting new oil and gas jobs and oil and gas investments. So, I mean, that whole system is very much skewed, but I think the economy is a lot worse than people are being led on to by the Fed or by our politicians, because they want to be reelected. You know, Dave, they want to be reelected. They're going to say whatever they have to say to tout their own resume. But in all fact, I don't believe any of it. I would tell you that I don't trust any of it with my money. And when we talk about gold, Dave, we have to understand, are we willing to put our nest egg in these people's hands and the decisions that they're making and the financial system? And when it comes to that, absolutely not. So I don't believe what they're saying. I don't believe that any of our leaders have the capabilities to steer the ship safely into the harbor. I think this is going to end very badly. I think we're headed towards a recession or a depression for sure. And I think we're headed towards a financial collapse. And that's the reason why someone would want to own gold, Dave.
You know, speaking about a financial collapse, we have seen how quickly manufactured wealth can disappear with the failure of some cryptocurrencies. You've always warned against those, haven't you?
You can't have all your wealth, Dave, in assets that's speculation. You know, speculation could make you rich, but it also can send you to the poorhouse and bankrupt you. There's a time and place. If you understand those types of risky assets, great. But there has to be some foundational principles when it comes to saving and investing, especially in such a reckless banking system. And, you know, and the reckless banking cartels that are out there, I don't trust the banks. A lot of our clients don't trust the banks, but you have to have some living expense money there. You have to have some emergency money there. It is what it is. But digital assets, which is where we're headed, I mean, they just disappear. We're very fearful about just waking up one morning and there's a big news event, and it's either caused the financial markets to be locked up or down heavily, or maybe our assets are just gone. So you have to have something that's outside of the banking system. And what's better than gold? It's been money for thousands of years. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, Dave.
Yeah, today we are going to honor Christmas by talking about the appearance of gold at the birth of Jesus. We did this last year, and I thought it was so interesting that I thought it would be good to visit it again. Here's the biblical narrative in Matthew. It reads in part, "Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. And behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them, until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Ken, the gifts of the wise men, they had a great deal of value in those days, didn't they?
Well, yeah, and they still do, Dave,
Hmm.
and that's the whole thing that we're talking about. How could you have something that will always have value? And the Romans are credited as being, Dave, one of the first to make gold coins, a popular form of currency. Gold was also commonly used, as we all know, for jewelry making in the Roman era, Dave. Gold jewelry was a symbol of prosperity and wealth. So we want to have something always that's a sign of prosperity and wealth, Dave. We just don't want monopoly money or monopoly paper, which a lot of our investments or assets seem to be these days, and very volatile. With time, Dave, gold began to be used in ancient Rome for making pots and other household goods that could be afforded only by the upper class. It was believed that the more gold found in a house, the more prosperous the family and the household was. The Romans, Dave, followed the tradition of burying their dead with gold jewelry so that it could accompany them in their afterlife.
Hmm.
So, we continue to see, even in the Roman Empire, Dave, thousands of years ago, gold signified wealth, prosperity, and the social status of an individual. Gold was considered the metal of the gods, Dave, and was believed to have descended from the sun.
Hmm.
It was widely used for making ornaments. Amulets called bulla were worn by young boys from birth as a shield against any evil energy. Gold rings were also favored by young boys
Hmm.
as they were thought to bring good fortune. Gold rings were the most common and sometimes the only piece of jewelry worn by men. Roman women, Dave, preferred wearing necklaces, bracelets, armlets. The number of pieces of jewelry on their arm was always greater than seven. Bracelets in the shape of coiled snakes pinned by gold were extremely popular. Among them, the design symboled immortality. So, as we can see, Dave, in summary, gold contributed greatly to the economy of ancient Rome. It made it one of the most powerful empires in the world until they started devaluing the currency and then taking on a lot of debt. Very, very similar to what's going on today in our great country. History repeats itself. The Romans' love for gold inspired and influenced many other civilizations, Dave, that followed and gave the world a new perspective towards this precious metal. But like I said before, Dave, gold still represents wealth. But anybody these days can diversify. You don't have to be a king, or you don't have to be a affluent rich person. You could own gold. You can diversify. You don't have to be a wealthy warlord to own gold. You just have to care, Dave, about protecting your nest egg.
You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is gold in the Bible. Ken, this is a very interesting story in new ways when you look at the inclusion of gold into the narrative, because the story continues. Now, when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him. And he rose, and he took the child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt. Ken, we often think of the gifts as being expressions of worship, which they are, but with this addition to the story, they take on a very practical value in the early months and years of Jesus' life, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, the gold could have given the Holy Family money, Dave, to live on in Egypt until they
Hmm.
could return to Nazareth, and Joseph could continue his trade as a carpenter to provide for Mary and Jesus. Don't forget, this was a catastrophic period, so to speak, in their life, and gold gave them security.
Mm.
And compare that, Dave, to today's uncertain world and the possibility that financial catastrophe could strike and will strike at any time. And that's what we're preparing for. How could we make our nest egg bulletproof? And gold is a critical crisis asset. It always has been, Dave. And in today's world, it will allow an investor, people that are listening to us today, to survive the upcoming dollar and market meltdown, which is on its way. You
Hmm.
don't want to be financially destroyed as the dollar melts away, or the markets just crater based on all these decisions that our central bankers and our politicians are making. So gold still plays an enormous role when it comes to crisis management, Dave.
A reminder here that you are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today our topic is gold in the Bible. And aside from the story of Christ's birth, there are many other references to gold in the scriptures. And we're going to take a look at those a little bit later in our time together today. But first, in a few moments, we're going to take a look at a specific gold product that you can add to secure your wealth.
What's happening in America is frightening. The Biden regime has caused a record inflation. Crime is rampant, and our borders are wide open to criminals and drug dealers. Sebastian Gorka here. Now, after the election, Biden says he isn't going to change a thing. Radical Democrats are even more emboldened. That can only mean greater disaster for the American economy, for your money, for your retirement, which is why it's wise to convert your savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the only gold company I recommend, Midas Gold Group. Gold holds its value when economies fail. Economists are now talking about a looming recession, so I recommend calling veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to safeguard your savings and investments with physical gold before you lose even more. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call them on 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold. Call 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. Our topic today is gold in the Bible. And now, if you live in the Los Angeles or the Phoenix area, we invite you to come and visit us at our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, all you have to do is log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, 855-322-4653. Now, let's treat ourselves by looking at a specific gold product. And Ken, since we began our program in the Middle East today, let's look at a gold product from that part of the world, specifically from an area in which the Apostle Paul established many early churches. And I'm talking about the country of Turkey. I'm talking mainly about the Istanbul Gold Refinery, or the IGR 1-ounce gold bar. What can you tell us about this?
Well, Dave, the Istanbul Gold Refinery has become a global leader in the production of 1-ounce 24-karat gold fine bullion bars. And remember, that's defined as 4 nines, 0.9999. The 1-ounce bar, of course, is the sound choice for value bullion investors. The Istanbul Gold Refinery mints gold bullion bars, Dave, in a variety of sizes, from as small as a half of a gram to 10 ounces. 50-gram bars and 100-gram bars are very popular. We have all of those in stock right now. But as we've said many times before, Dave, the 1-ounce bars remain the most popular size for investors when it comes to gold in the world.
Can you give us a description of it?
Sure. The IGR 1-ounce gold bar, Dave, its highlights include, as I said before, 1 ounce of 24-karat fine gold. It's backed by the government of Turkey. So that's pretty unique that a bar is actually backed by a government entity. Most bars, when it comes to silver and gold, Dave, are just made by a private company. But in this case, also like some Canadian bars, this bar is backed by the government of Turkey. It also comes in a tamper-evident carded holder with a certificate of assay. Both the bar, Dave, and the holder are stamped with a unique serial number. And security features include a security mark only visible under UV light, as well as a holographic logo. And here's where it differs, Dave, from some other gold bullion bars. The obverse design of the bar is rather simplistic. The refiner's name, IGR, is stamped at the top of the bar. Below that, the bar is marked as 1 ounce fine gold with the purity 9999 stamped below it. Additionally, the IGR logo pairs with the 7-digit serial number below that, Dave. The reverse side of the IGR bar includes another simple design. It has the IGR initial repeatedly listed across the bar at a 45-degree angle. This side also contains one of the security features on this bar, the security mark that is only visible under UV light. So, Dave, even though the IGR 1-ounce gold bar does not have the artwork that we see on some gold coins or even some other bars, it does have some rather unique verification marks, and it is very rich in value. it is a product that's under constant demand by our clients.
Ken, a critical question about its versatility. Is it IRA eligible?
Because of its purity, Dave, the IGR bars are qualified for ownership by IRAs and other retirement accounts. They are accepted universally by all major gold depositories. And somebody with cash or money at the bank or money at their broker that they want to convert into gold too, you could also own these bars by doing a cash transaction. But yes, they do qualify for the gold IRA.
And you can guide us through the process of obtaining these?
Well, as always, Dave, Midas Gold Group is more than happy to advise prospective owners of gold whether this is right for their ownership or their collection. We don't try to make people collectors, but if you think about it that way, I also want to add any gold bought from Midas Gold Group will always come to you in immaculate condition, straight from the mints themselves. And in this particular case, the IGR mint, and obviously we spoke about that in Turkey.
Ken, thank you so much. You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today our topic is gold in the Bible, and we're going to continue with that in just a moment.
It now costs painfully more to buy the essentials of life than it did a year ago under the Biden regime. Your money is losing value every day. Sebastian Gorka here. One thing that doesn't lose value is gold, which is why it's wise to convert your savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the only gold company I recommend, veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call them at 855-322-GOLD.
We continue now with The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. If you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. We're talking with Ken Russo, Senior Vice President at Midas Gold Group, and on today's program, our topic is gold in the Bible. So, Ken, we've commented on the Christmas story and the role of gold in the early life of Jesus when his parents had to flee from Judea into Egypt for a period of time, and how the gold that they received could have helped sustain them through a catastrophic time in their lives. Now, can you maybe tell us about other mentions of gold in the Bible to see what it says about its use and its value?
Yeah, a few, Dave. And value obviously is the important word, especially when we're talking about why gold today. But one mention about the value of gold, Dave, can be found in the Exodus description of the tabernacle's construction. It is replete with gold as the building material. God handed the blueprint for the construction of the tabernacle to Moses, which the Israelites followed obediently. And according to the narration, gold was being beaten into plates for overlay sheets and even thread for garments used by the high priest. And looking at the Battle of Jericho, Dave, the first battle of the Israelites in their conquest of Canaan, according to Joshua, Moses' assistant and successor, God commanded that the gold captured from the city of Jericho be used in the sanctuary. So we see gold mentioned many, many times in the Bible. As like we said, it's always had value and it's always represented money.
Ken, what about gold in Solomon's temple?
Well, that's a fascinating narrative that continues the esteem in which gold was held, Dave. Solomon made a holy temple with gold that superseded Moses' tabernacle. The temple's lampstands, utensils, forks, bowls, pictures, basins, cups, etc. were all made, believe it or not, of gold. The inner shrine, the Holy of Holies, Dave, and the Holy Ark, housing the original tablets of the Ten Commandments, were overlaid with gold as well. And an interesting perspective here, at today's prices, the gold in Solomon's temple, believe it or not, Dave, would be valued at over $50 billion.
$50 billion. Wow. You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is gold in the Bible. Ken, let's bring this to the times we live in. Gold can be an instrument of financial security. How does that work?
Well, It's money, it's a medium of exchange. It's something you could hold on to outside of the banking system. It's something that will always have value. It's something that can protect the volatility of the markets. It can protect you from losing it all when other assets just disappear, or more importantly, when this whole system goes digital and reset, what is our money actually going to be worth, Dave? What is it going to buy? And gold has always reflected whatever our dollar has lost in value, the price of gold goes up. That's the relationship. So I would expect, Dave, just from an investor's point of view, or for somebody who's looking to save or protect their nest egg, I would expect a much higher gold price in the next 5 or 10 years, because everything that's going on leads directly to a lower dollar and a lower dollar price.
In the process of moving funds out of other investments or out of a cash reserve account, is it complicated?
Well, not for us, Dave, because that's what we do. Midas Gold Group is the nation's #1 veteran-owned gold and silver dealer. We take it upon ourselves to know our job, and we take a lot of pride, and we feel very privileged to be able to assist people when it comes to owning gold. But to take gold from a liquid cash bank account or a brokerage account, or to do a rollover from an old retirement account or a transfer from an existing IRA, it's what we do. So we don't mind investing our time in people. We feel very fortunate to have clients, and I would encourage people to not be afraid of moving assets into gold. I would ask them to wonder about the dangers of keeping their money where it is and what could happen to it in the markets or at the bank. I think people face a lot more risk keeping their assets, their paper assets, where they are versus owning gold. I think owning gold gives people a much, much better chance to survive financially, especially with some of these things that we're talking about coming to fruition. And don't forget, these markets are dollar losing a lot of value. It could happen at any time.
Ken, there are many, many gold companies advertising on TV and on the radio these days. But when you call them, what you end up doing is talking with somebody in a cubicle in kind of a boiler room, and they're working from a script. That is not what happens when I call Midas Gold Group, is it?
Well, no, and we take a lot of pride, Dave, in really handling ourselves professionally and conducting business in a very professional way. Even when it comes to gold, we don't promote products that benefit Midas Gold Group, which is a lot of what these other companies do. We don't promote products that are at sky-high markups, because we don't hire commission salesmen that just work on commission. Clients at Midas Gold Group get to speak to some of the owners of Midas Gold Group. That doesn't happen in other gold companies. We don't have a lot of high turnover. A lot of these gold salesmen, they burn their clients over the course of a few years, and then they have to move around from place to place to place. We don't do that. So to have a very good reputation online and offline, to meet with people face to face, you have to do business honorably. And I would say that we do business the most honorably when it comes to gold and silver. And if you have that type of relationship, or if you have the ability to do business with those type of people, that's a tremendous advantage for most investors these days.
Ken, this has been a fascinating look at gold in the Bible. Thank you so much for your guidance and your expertise.
Well, it's always my pleasure, Dave. I was glad we were able to talk about it again.
That's going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. A reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you for your time again today.
Hey, Dave, in the Midas Gold Group, it's still politically correct to tell everybody Merry Christmas. So a happy, great, Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Indeed, Merry Christmas from all of us. Ken, thank you so much. I'm Dave Dino. Come and join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.